I struggled to have boundaries, healthy boundaries, for the longest time. I didn't even know what boundaries were until I think my late 20s. Maybe like 26, 27, I first heard the term boundaries, and I thought, what the hell is that? And I wish so much that I'd known about this when I was 17, 18. So I'm going to talk to you about this in the context of dating, but honestly, this applies across the board. Friendships, family, work colleagues, but just for ease of, so I'm not giving examples of every single situation. I'm just going to talk about it in the context of romantic relationships, because I think that is a situation where it is often the most difficult to hold your boundaries, because we get, when you get attached to someone in that way and things are physical, especially as a woman, that does things to our hormones, and we become, it to an extent, we become chemically dependent on a man once we have, shaboinked. So once you've gone to that level of intimacy, let's say, it becomes a lot more difficult to have boundaries, because we start making excuses for things because of that chemical dependency, because of all the bonding hormones that occur after we've done that. So until recent years, I'm 35 now, until recent years, I thought that having boundaries or having standards of any kind was condescending. I thought that it was a sign that I was looking down on them or judging them. And this is, a lot of it is because of the way I was raised. I was taught to tolerate any kind of treatment, any kind of behavior. If someone was treating me badly, I was a bad person if I recognized their bad behavior and said, that's bad behavior, I don't like it. Can you please stop? So I was taught that that makes me a bad person and that makes me unforgiving. And this is why I had no concept of boundaries. So when you grow up like that, and I think probably a lot of you, to one extent or another, experience something similar as kids. A lot of us did. So it can be very challenging to move past that kind of mental construct that we have in our minds, where we don't feel like we have the right to have boundaries, because that means that we are judging the other person as not being good enough or something like this. But this visualization has helped me so much. I don't know where it came from. It just, a few months ago, I just had this brainwave. Those are becoming fewer and far between as I'm getting older. I had this brainwave where I thought, it's like having a castle. Okay, you have a castle. Your life is a castle. What does a castle have? It has walls. Why does it have walls? To keep invaders out, to keep out people with bad intentions, to keep out people who want to come in, set fire to the rooftops and shit in the streets. Yeah, I mean, is that reasonable? If the castle is your life, your emotional safe haven, your well-being, your peace is the castle, do you not have a right to defend it, to keep out people who are just going to come in and make things worse? Yeah, of course you do. Of course you have that right. It's not public property. It is your castle. I don't know if my hands are shaking a little bit on camera. I just had way too much coffee. So if you see me like, so think of your life as a castle. And what do we do when we have a castle? Well, we don't just want to isolate ourselves completely and not allow anyone into the castle, obviously. We want to have friends in the castle. We want to have allies. We want to have people come around for a banquet. Of course we do. We want to share this beautiful castle that we've built. We want to walk around the gardens with people that we love and who love us in return. but there really needs to be people who are capable and willing to treat the castle grounds with respect. If they're coming in and they're making things worse, why are we letting them back in over and over and over again? Why are we doing that? Do we not love our castle? No? Yes? This is what I've done for the last 17 years. Oh God. 17 years of dating. When did I start dating? 16, 17? I'm 35 now. You do the maths. I'm just making excuses for, I've always been bad at maths. But it is so hot in England right now. Like, it's driving me crazy. My brain is just melting from about 10 a.m. onwards. But this is what I did for my whole dating career, if you like. I allowed men who, I'm not saying I did everything right, okay? Not saying that. But I allowed men who didn't respect the castle to take up space in the castle, so that someone who would respect the castle was unable to come in because there's only space for one, right? So I came up with this visualization, let's call it castle theory. I'm sure someone else would have come up with this at some point, but I haven't heard of it before. So you think of it like when you're dating someone initially. Now, I would have a habit of jumping into relationships way too quickly and just assuming the best, you know, and that's not how it works. You really need to vet people, right? And this could be seen like a visa application. So what happens when someone gets to the castle walls? They've heard about this beautiful castle, the gardens, the kitchens, everything. And they think, oh man, I'd really love to spend a bit of time in the castle grounds. I'd like to come visit this castle that I've heard so much about. What happens when they get to the walls? There's a gate, right? The gates are not just wide open for anyone to walk in, for good reason, because some people will come in, set fire to the buildings, and shit and piss in the street. We don't want that because we care about our castle, right? So they get to the castle gates, and what do? They fill in a tourist visa that lasts, let's say, 3 months. 3 months is a good amount of time. Now, when you're dating someone, if I were you, and this is what I'm doing moving forward, I would not communicate this to them. Don't say to someone, you know, oh, I don't sleep with anyone until we've been together for 3 months. Because for some people, they're just going to be like, oh, okay, I can last that long. Right? Don't tell them that that's what you're doing. You keep that information to yourself. Move in silence. Because really, the more gates, like a series of gates that someone has to pass through before they get to the throne room, let's say, the more you weed out the people, the men. I mean, this goes for men as well. You dating women sometimes who couldn't give a crap about you. There need to be some kind of hoops that they need to jump through in order to qualify, right? But generally speaking, it is the men who need to impress the women. That's just biological. That's the way it works. So by setting up gates, and I'll go into that in a second, we weed out the below bare minimal effort malicious men who want to be around you, not for any real purpose other than to get what they want. And that doesn't even necessarily mean that they want sex. They probably do, but it can also just be being around you. And I talk about this because this relates back to non-romantic relationships. This could be male friends. This could be male family members. Again, women, you also need to vet women coming into your life. So it's not all about men. But generally speaking, men love to be around feminine energy. Are they qualified to bask in your presence? Not necessarily, right? If they can't treat you with respect, they don't qualify. They've been disqualified. They don't get to spend time in the castle grounds, right? I'm not saying, that we be particularly judgmental or anything. Don't know where they're coming from. But at the end of the day, if someone is wearing you down, not respecting you, using you emotionally, physically, financially, whatever it is, they don't get to stay. They don't get to stay in the castle. That's just common sense, isn't it? Saying this to my younger self, hoping that for those of you who are younger or even older, it's never too late to set up some boundaries and to start developing more self-respect. But I honestly don't buy into the whole, what do we call it? The casual dating thing. Don't buy into it. So, where were we? What was I? Yes, visa. Tourist visa. 3-month tourist visa. In that time, what happens with a tourist visa in your castle? They don't get to just wander around unaccompanied, right? They have a guard with them the whole time. Now, the guard is friendly. Welcoming. But it just stops the visitor from accessing places where they should not be accessing just yet, to keep the castle safe from Trojan horses, let's say. They might want to come into the throne room. What does this look like in reality? It could be, hey, I want to cook you dinner. Come over to my place. I'll cook you dinner. We'll watch Netflix and chill. We all know what's going to happen there. Okay, let's stop pretending like we're actually going to watch something on Netflix. We're not watching anything on Netflix other than the opening credits, okay? So what do you say when a man says to you, oh, come over, I'll cook you dinner. Oh, that's so romantic. Thank you. We say, oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. I would love to do that. I would love to let you cook me dinner in the future. At the moment, however, I'd love it if we meet up in public until we get to know each other a bit better. Okay? Soft, warm. You're receiving his offer with warmth. You're not coming at it like, all men just want one thing, me. Okay, you're just having a boundary there, but you're maintaining the boundary with warmth, with affection, with softness. It's a very feminine skill, feminine strength. So that way, shaboinky doesn't happen within the first 3 months. Because once shaboinky happens, those hormones, all those bonding hormones, and it is not the same for men, all those bonding hormones go through the roof, and you will start making excuses for all kinds of terrible behavior. But I think part of the reason why it's so difficult for a lot of us to maintain healthy boundaries, to set standards, is because we're worried that we're going to lose them. You have to, that is the fundamental belief that you have to change in your head, is that if someone walks away from you, that they have rejected you. They're not rejecting you. They're just not qualified for even a tourist visa, let alone residency. Okay, that changed that fundamental mindset, viewpoint, perspective, whatever you want to call it. Change that in your mind. All of your experiences in all of your relationships will change immediately. You'll need to, every single day, every situation, come back to this castle theory, castle theory, castle theory. So when, let's say you say to someone, they say you're seeing a man, oh, come over for dinner, I'll cook you dinner, oh, I make really good spaghetti, And you say, oh, I would love that so much in the future. But just at the moment, while we're still getting to know each other, I'd love it if we meet up in public. Make a suggestion, okay? Maybe, oh, I've really wanted to go to this carnival that's in town, or I'd really love to go to the beach for a swim. What do you think? Oh, the water would feel so refreshing this time of year. You know, put some ideas out there and let him take you somewhere. If he resists, if he tries to push, overstep that boundary, if he is dismissive, if he says, oh, well, that's really stupid. What do you think? I'm a serial killer? That's gaslighting. That is gaslighting. And it's only going to get worse. I promise you. The number of times that I have seen this happen in my dating life, I've seen the gaslighting. I knew what it was, identified it. I knew that it felt wrong in my body, in my stomach. I felt that this isn't right, what he's doing, this isn't right. And I just kept seeing him anyway and allowed these doodle heads to take up years of my life. With love, I find myself so frustrated with my past self in some ways. I just think, God, what were you thinking? You saw the red flags and you're just like, nope, that's not red, it's definitely green. I am colorblind. Don't do it. Don't do it. If it doesn't feel right, if it makes you shift uneasily in your seat or something, just walk away. You don't owe them an explanation. Nothing. Don't let them talk you out of it. You see that overstepping, right? A good, decent man will see that boundary and he will want you to feel comfortable. He will want you to feel safe. He will want you to feel respected. Right? There are lots of good men out there. It's just they're not pushy. So sometimes the ones that are pushy seem more like flashy on the outside, and we're drawn to them for that reason, like sort of like a peacock, you know. And that turns out that the peacock is going to treat you like an emotional punching bag. So don't go with the peacock. Not the one that's shaking its ass in your face. Go for the one that's sort of standing back just a little bit, more respectful. Yeah, I'm going to go more into this castle theory in the future, but this is 18 minutes long now, so I'm going to go upload it. All right, I hope you have a lovely week. I don't know when I'm going to upload next. It might be in 5 minutes, it might be next month, but I'll see you then.